Hello, dear friends. Advanced civilizations don't use dominant systems. All governments are redundant because there are more administrators than administered. Opinion piece. Invisible rulers, deep state, influence groups, Council of Avernus, shadow government. We are in the final phase. Everything is speeding up. Let's start. Invisible rulers are individuals or groups that exert influence on political decision making without holding official positions. A study in Spain analyzed the latent power structure of two governments, revealing how former presidents, former ministers, and business executives maintain significant relationships with members of the executive, potentially influencing the formation of the government and its political action. Shadow government suggests that true political power lies not with elected representatives, but with highly influential individuals or groups operating behind the scenes, beyond the control of democratic institutions. According to this hypothesis, elected government officials would be subordinate to this shadow government, which would constitute the true executive branch. Some of the groups proposed as part of this shadow government include central banks, lobbies or influence groups, think tanks, secret societies, and globalist elites. For example, in the Peruvian context, there was talk of an alleged shadow cabinet in the government of Pedro Castillo, where advisors and officials would have made decisions under the figure of the president. The deep state refers to a network of public officials or interest groups that operate secretly and influence government decisions, regardless of who is in power. The Council of Avernus can be interpreted as a secret society made up of businessmen and aristocrats. Hell is often associated with hell in literature. Avernus is often associated with hell in literature, as in Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. Opinion. The dark powers have taken almost unlimited freedom to rule the surface of the planet for tens of thousands of years. Against the other side, the forces of light, who are making great efforts to eliminate all negative forces from our planet, according to Peter B. Mayer. The emerging revelations will show the world the truth about the banking institutions, the government, and all the actions of the cabal against humankind. The light is literally coming to earth for everyone. Much activity is happening behind the scenes, making it now safer for benevolent helpers to act as instructed to remove the powers that made up the dark side. The clique's financial system is on the brink of collapse. They have spent millions of dollars every year to give us the impression that nothing has changed and nothing undesirable can happen. If given the choice, the dark side would start World War III for the sole purpose of restarting their fiat money system. White hats are fighting for an exceptional future that is real and coming. To name a few things: free energy, interstellar travel, teletime travel, asset-backed money system, natural remedies, new methodology to clean our atmosphere, and a return to organic foods. In short, a true golden era is coming. Much of the hidden history will be revealed. A world without rulers. As the planetary transition comes to an end, human consciousness also continues to expand, so that everyone can understand that the cycle on our planet is definitely closing, according to vital Frosi. Of course, each consciousness has its own individual capacity to process this information, so contradictory and arbitrary understandings still exist. But we can clearly see two timelines forming each day, which will bring souls together, whether or not they are ready for ascension. Each one will go with the group that suits their frequency. In recent years, when consciousness was allowed to be new, human beings have received guidance, information, and instructions that were in line with their capacity for perception and understanding. Only after understanding can you truly perceive the changes that are taking place. Everything is now accelerating towards the final moments of this planetary transition. The plan for the world is so vast, for the world in general, is so vast that the human mind is not yet able to comprehend it. Only a few very superficial clues are available, and even then, only to those who are aware and open to receiving this information. But every day, the group capable of explaining these incredible changes for humankind grows. Interpretation doesn't have to be the same for all consciousness, but the understanding that each one has allows him to make the best decisions and also gives confidence that the path is being followed in the best possible way and that the end is very close. Many already see the flag that separates the two dimensions, 3 and 5, on the horizon. All known 3D systems will cease to exist in the 5D world. We will not forget the past, because it was the treadmill of our learning. But let us allow the new, because nothing will be the same again. Since the transition takes place over about 3 centuries and began around 1750, we can now understand that we are indeed in the final phase. The best and most incredible years are being experienced within the transition by the current generation. You and I and nearly 80 billion other souls are privileged to be present and experience the long-awaited transition together with planet Earth. There will be many challenges, but there is nothing greater than the reward of this experience. We will carry this legacy to the cosmos, beyond the infinity of time. You will be recorded in the cosmic annals forever with your story. You will be able to say forever, I was there. Government. When all systems are changed, one of them will be very impactful, namely the government system. No system was part of the curriculum of this school of souls. They were all created and developed by humans. In fact, learning here was unlimited, with free choice to create, develop, and reap the results of everything, always within duality, polarity, and subject to a divine justice, within the laws of attraction and reaction. The system of government had its origins at the beginning of human civilization, when people came out of caves and began to live in groups or collectives. From the beginning, the idea was to direct and organize the groups and regulate everyone's destiny. However, ego and the desire for power was introduced into human DNA through genetic experiments by invading races. Since these visitors were not allowed to incarnate in physical bodies on Earth, they used human beings for their own benefit, controlling and exploiting them for their service. So, the current system of government was born from these very ancient interests, which over time were supported by external physical entities, and thus more and more human beings were made with reptilian DNA. Souls incarnated with this profile have an insatiable desire for power and greed. They lack compassion and emotions. They don't care about the consequences in order to achieve their goals. In a sense, over the centuries, almost all human beings have acquired, to a greater or lesser extent, some traces of reptilian DNA. This was allowed to some extent by the divine plan for several reasons, one of them being that it has prepared the people to see greater and greater advancement, and as even those who are not brought to position of government or collective responsibility strive for achieving success in your efforts in daily activities. Pyramid. But the head of the government pyramid has become too big and needs an increasingly broad base. Over time, geographical divisions, countries, states, autarchies, conglomerates, organizations, NGOs, unions, courts, forums, municipalities, congresses, secretariats, and the whole paraphernalia of opportunities have been created to satisfy an increasing number of eager people of power. Each public position created also requires more financial resources than those that actually work in the productive system. And thus was born what has already been called here the law of slavery, through work and debt. Only those who abandon productive functions and join those who benefit from them remain outside the clutches of this law. Thus, the state became increasingly swollen as many discovered that they could change sides. Today, we have a reality similar to a bubble. One small breath and it will explode, and therefore both the system and all other resources created for profit and not serve will cease to exist in a short time. The exchange of all systems will take place over a few years in no linear time. This is the most important part of the planetary transition. Autonomy. When the Earth frequency leaves the vibration of the third dimension behind, it will also stop feeding the energy of the old systems. Humanity will no longer need to be governed, since each consciousness will be autonomous, independent, and responsible for itself. On the new Earth, cooperation will replace competition, so no one will lose and no one else can win. Everyone will always win, because their consciences are pure. This purity is already present in every soul. It was hidden by the veils so that each incarnated could experience the polarities of entering the duality that exists here in the third dimension. By lifting the veils, all truth and innate knowledge will be revealed in the full consciousness of every ascended human being. Of course, this will not be the case for those who have not yet completed the apprenticeship at this school. All worlds from the fifth dimension onwards do not use dominant systems. They don't need rulers either. There will be hierarchies such as councils of elders, in which the decisions will have to be made, but these decisions will be solely about collective discipline and organization. Consciousness itself, which will be superior in this world, is its own government. Everyone will know their authority and responsibility at all times. The new era has finally begun. It is clear that governments are redundant. It makes no sense to continue with the current hermetic and bankrupt system, which oppresses and contributes nothing. Many will ask when. If protests by farmers, truckers, citizens, and other active people continue around the world, progress could be a reality. The storm finally subsides. A time of prosperity dawns, and the meek and the pure of our heart will enjoy it. And this new time just depends on you. Nothing and no one has the power to stop you. I am Byron Frosty, and my mission is enlightenment. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.